Now, when I say a chiropractic problem, it's called a gateway. Do you know what the definition of a gateway is?
The basic definition, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like it's the reason that the patient is looking for help, whether drugs or doctor.
Yeah, and we don't have to say patients and doctors. If we're talking about economics and business, it's the main reasons why over 80% of the people buy that product or service from that business.
Yeah.
In other words, are you going to go to McDonald's for pizza?
Nope.
Are you going to go to Taco Bell for a computer?
Nope.
Okay. So those are called gateways. And typically, there's only typically 3 gateways that'll represent 80% of the reason why people come to a business. As an example, McDonald's has hamburgers, cheeseburgers, shakes, French fries. If you took all of their products, 3 of them would represent 80% of the orders that people come. Coke, hamburger, French fry, milkshake. Say, there'll be 3 that are overwhelmingly the 80%. It's that 80-20 rule. So 80% will come from 3 main areas. Now, what are those areas in chiropractic? Do you remember? Do you remember the chief complaints and the percentages of them that come to a chiropractor?
Yes, I do remember talking about it. It was neck pain, back pain, headaches are the 3 big complaints, correct?
What percentage?
84%, I wrote it down. 84% for neck pain, back pain, headaches, 7% for extremities.
Slow down.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so yeah. So that's 80%, and it's actually 84% are for back pain, neck pain, headaches. That's do you get my point? So it's a real small number of gateways why people will go to a particular business.
Yeah.
And then it's sprinkled. So then there's that what we call the 17%. So in chiropractic, that's extremities, neuromuscular extremities. That represents 7%. Shoulders, knees. So that's 91%. That only leaves 9% left, right?
Yeah.
Well, how big of a number is 9% of 8%?
Very small.
Okay. So how much sense would it make to market for that?
Pretty much none.
Right. Be pretty stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I'm getting ready to tell you is very important. Make sure you write this down. Of the remaining 9% that go to a chiropractor, they do go for what is called the somatovisceral reflex or the subluxation. It's a somatovisceral reflex or subluxation. So only 9% of the population will see chiropractic care because of a somatovisceral reflex. Now, what are the most common somatovisceral reflexes that they'll go for? Allergies, asthma, bedwetting.
Yeah.
Coo. Those are the most common of the somatovisceral reflexes that they'll go. So it's only 9% of 8%. That's real important to know this. Now, the next thing is even more important to know. That 9%, did they come on their own? In other words, did they have asthma, allergies, or bedwetting and go, you know what? I have allergies. A chiropractor can help me. So they called a chiropractor to go to the chiropractor to get treated for allergies. Is that what happened? No. So where did these patients come from? 80% of the 9% came to the chiropractor for a main gateway, back pain, neck pain, But the chiropractor and their patient education got 80% of the somatovisceral patients. In other words, 80% of the people that went to a chiropractor for bedwetting, asthma, allergy, bedwetting, coop, had no intentions on going to a chiropractor for that problem. They went to the chiropractor for back pain, a normal reason why they would go. And while they were at the chiropractor's office, the chiropractor did essentially educational sales. In other words, they did education with the patients. And that's what brought in those other family members with allergy, asthma, or bedwetting. It was not from the population at large recognizing that chiropractors treat asthma, allergy, bedwetting, or the coo. Now, what I just told you is damn important, and you better get it down. Only 20% of the 9% of the patients that get treated for somatovisceral reflexes. It's only 20% of 9% of 8%. How small of a number is that?
Very small.
That's the number of people. That's the percentage of people looking for a chiropractor for a somatovisceral reflex, asthma, allergy, bedwetting. It's like 0.001%. So how smart would it be to advertise for asthma, allergy, and bedwetting when only 0.001% of the population is looking to go to a chiropractor for that problem?
It'd be absolutely idiotic. You'll fail.
You'd be wasting your time and money.